Let me mention about Jamie Broza. Jamie is a New York Times praised him as multi-talented. Jamie Broza for his superb jazz and funk tinged orchestration. 4-time Emmy Award winner as well. Jamie arranged, writes, performs music for film and television. Composed the theme for As the World Turns. Really? You're too young to have composed that. In any, maybe a new theme. Any?
This week, actually.
Oh, is that right? Congratulations. I worked on As the World Turns back in my CBS days.
Really?
But mainly I was on Love of Life was my soap opera.
Oh, really?
Okay, but Jamie, it's all about you right now, and thank you very much for coming down. And what are you going to share with us?
I am going to share a song called Be Nice to Old People in honor of Pete, and hopefully he would not take it amiss that some people, like little kids, might think he's an older guy. But anyway, this is a song called Be Nice to Old People, and I think its message comes clear through it. So.
Oh, beautiful. I think it's good. I'm not going to take it personally either, Jamie, so it's fine.
You don't look a day over 25.
I love you, Jamie. Okay.
Be nice to old people, they used to be young. They used to tease siblings to stick out their tongues, to stay up past midnight, to giggle, to yell. Don't believe me, just ask them, they've stories to tell. Be nice to old people, they used to get scared. They'd hide in their sheets from the monsters who dared to make funny noises on closets, on stairs. Don't believe me, just ask them if they got nightmares. Though Grandma gets tired and sometimes moves slow, she probably ran faster than you long ago. She probably dug earthworms, made her room a mess, walked into a party with mud on her dress. Though Grandpa gets tired and sometimes seems hazy, he probably played baseball, went sledding, went crazy. He probably once thought his own parents were dopey, was stubborn and careless and sloppy and mopey. People, they sometimes forget that when they were young, they liked getting wet. They play in the bath, water splashed everywhere, avoided shampoos, loved to pull sisters' hair. And when they were young, they would get into trouble, not eat their green beans, turn crackers to rubble. It's hard to believe, but I tell you, it's true. There's very few things that old folks did not do. Be kind to old people, 'cause once they were little, round rolly babies, not creaky and brittle. They used to be kissed 42 times an hour, and hugged and snuggled and called wildflower. And when they were young, they would wish on a star. They'd wish for a horse, for a puppy, a car. They'd wish they were older, but now that they're wise, they wish on the stars that they find in your eyes. They wish on the stars that they find in your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
It's
Jamie.
been a pleasure to be here today.
It's a pleasure to have you here. That was really beautiful. I see why you're getting all those Emmys. Congratulations to you, and thank you for sharing this day with us.
It's a pleasure
Jamie
to be
Broza.
here.
Thank you very much, Jamie. I wonder if Jim Brown is here yet. I don't know. He did have a busy schedule. And if he is, then I hope he'll come up. If not, then actually we're going to go to Sharon Abreu next. Okay? If Jim's not here, is this Jim Brown? It is Jim Brown. Okay. Jim, I think I've seen you. Yeah, I think so. Hi, how are you? So we're going to have to mic you up here. Wow, that's good. This is good. Jim, you're good. You are good. No. I just saw some pieces of it, and I've heard a billion comments about it. Unfortunately, I wasn't feeling so hot yesterday, and not great today. But tomorrow, what time is it tomorrow? It's a live show, so it doesn't matter. But tomorrow, Friday, May 4th.
It's at Kips Bay Theater.
Kips Bay Theater.
I think around 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
5:30 or 6 o'clock. Well, actually, what you can do is go to the Tribeca Film Festival.
That's right.
And you can look up Pete Seeger, The Power of Song. That I've heard really such great things. Congratulations. I really am honored to have you here. This guy only has 3 Emmy Awards. Okay, winning producer, director Jim Brown, responsible for some of the most popular, critically acclaimed programs, American music, last 3 decades. Pete Seeger, Power of Song, that's his most recent run. 4th documentary feature film. Previous films, The Weavers, Wasn't That a Time, Musical Passages, and most recently, Isn't This a Time? You've done stuff with Woody Guthrie, Leadbelly, wow. Earl Skaggs, Doc Watson, Harry. Oh, you're working on something to Harry Belafonte now?
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, and Mary Chaplin Cart?
Mary Chapin Carpenter.
Chapin Cart, you did something with her at the Spotlight?
Yeah, probably 10 years ago, yeah.
Well, this movie, The Power of Song, we read actually the note that Norman Lear had passed along to us, which is really, for me, a big deal, because I got into show business really because of Norman and Lear and All in the Family. In essence, to see a bigot on television, on national television, and learn from him and laugh with him and cry, that guy called Archie Bunker, really, was something. And I think you see that in Pete. What do you see in Pete what do you see in Pete to want to put a camera on him?
Whoa.
Big. Let's start off with the big questions.
I think Pete's maybe a tonic for what's wrong with America. He has answers for a lot of the things that we've lost our soul about and lost an identity of what it means to be an American. All the good things seem to be replaced with corporate messages and celebrity and war. Pete's the antithesis of all that. He's real and in touch with nature, in touch with music as a way of unifying people to make community rather than have just performers make it for us. His environmental messages, his messages about labor, civil rights, peace, have just really been on target. He sees everybody as an equal and has worked to make that possible, or try to make that possible, that everybody has an equal shot. And I just think he's one of the most important characters in the 20th to 21st century time period. In a way, he's a modern-day philosopher. His messages are just, I think, right on target.
Now, are you a professor as well?
Yes, I am at NYU.
Thank God. That's great. Where are you a professor?
At the Tisch Film School at NYU, at the School of the Arts, Tisch School of the Arts.
And you teach what there?
Documentary and television production.
What brought you in? Norman Lear brought me into it, a TV show. What brought you into making films some time ago, I imagine?
Yeah, quite a while ago. Well, it actually hooks back to Pete a little bit. I was in bands when I was in high school in the 60s and grew up in Croton, and Lee Hayes moved there when I was about 16, and I became his gardener. I was gardening down at Sunnyside, and it was a much cooler gig to drink beer with Lee and weed his garden than go all the way down to Irvington. So I got to know Lee, and that's when I met Pete and got to know him. And as I went to the film school at NYU and I knew I didn't want to make Hollywood films initially. I wanted to make documentaries, things for social change. I was very influenced by a guy by the name of George Stoney, who's like Pete. He's still, George is in his 90s and still teaching at NYU.
Wow.
At any rate, the very first films I made were out of school, were things for Channel 13 here in New York on Hudson River pollution. And we were actually filming pollution and taking polluters to court. And Pete and I worked on that, and we also worked on a film about the Hudson Shad. And then I guess when I was about 29, Lee was not in great shape and knew he was going to die, and basically wanted to get the Weavers together one last time, initially just as a little picnic in his backyard, and that became the reunion at Carnegie Hall that we chronicled, I think, in 1980, called Wasn't That a Time? And then really started to work with Harold Leventhal and Pete and Arlo and all those people for a great many years, and luckily still am.
Well, I don't know, but just for whatever it is, maybe everybody says that the world's a couple of degrees of separation, but so I played in bands in Tarrytown.
Yeah.
And which happens to be like in the middle of Irvington and Croton.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we...
yeah, we could have been in a battle of the bands.
We were in lots of battle bands. Were you in the Kensico Dam Battle of Bands?
No.
Ever?
No.
Did you play in Sunnyside? I mean, you're talking my kind of... but I'm much older than you. So
No, we're probably the same age. We played a lot at colleges upstate, like Syracuse, Colgate, stuff like that, and then in the Village a little bit at the Cafe Wa.
They wouldn't let us out of it. We played in Irvington, we played in Crow, played in Ossining. They wouldn't. Actually, we won the Battle of the Bands one year. I was
there you go.
A ringer. I don't know how that happened. I don't think anybody showed up. So that was kind of beautiful for us and memorable. Time Won't Let Me is what we played.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're the same time period.
Same type of music. Okay. Well,
same period.
David Bromberg was my next-door neighbor growing up.
Yeah.
You must know David.
Well, I don't know him. I know of him. I knew that his dad was a shrink there, I guess, in Tarrytown.
His dad was a shrink, and he didn't do enough work on me, but I don't know whether the Brombergs are. No, I don't think they're there anymore. But
I think Dave lives in Chicago now.
They moved away from there.
But Dave, I think, is in Chicago.
Let's talk about our river, the Hudson River.
Yeah.
Because and Pete is related, and when you say shad, I have a shad tree in my backyard in due respect of the river, which they call a shad tree because it blooms when
right now
because it's when the shad go up the river to spawn.
Right.
And so when I learned that, I was another happy kind. And I've been up to the Clearwater, and I've been up to River Keepers, and I've gone to a bunch of events up there over my lifetime. How are we doing with the Hudson River now? What do you think?
Well, I was just talking with former Governor Pataki as part of this film, and also John Cronin, who was one of the first river keepers, and also Pete. And I think the river is in better shape than it's been in 200 years. Basically, a lot of the municipal pollution in terms of dumping sewage into the river has been stopped. That was a major initiative that I think Pataki put in place. Pataki grew up, even though he's a Republican, he grew up in Pigskill and was very influenced by Pete and Clearwater and things like that. And he was the first governor, according to John Cronin, the riverkeeper, that really took Pete's influence and did something with it and really passed wide sweeping legislation. But I think there's still corporate pollution. GE has stopped polluting, but they haven't abated the situation. They haven't dredged the contaminants out of the bottom of the river. But I think in general, the Hudson River has made this evolution of going from when you and I were young in the 60s, it was actually designated as an industrial river. It's a beautiful, beautiful river. They were, in the 30s and the 40s, mining the Palisades. The Palisades would have been totally mined away if it hadn't been for environmental groups stopping it up all the way to about Hook Mountain. That's all changed. I think people, thanks to Pete, have taken pride in the river. They've come down to the river, which again, wasn't a place that you'd go swimming. Now it is. Wasn't a place that you'd really recreate. It was kind of industrial. And now we see the beauty of what it is. There's bald eagles that have come back. Sturgeon have repopulated. It's a very healthy ecosystem, and I think I would say 85 to 90% of that is due to Pete Seeger. He really had this vision before many people thought about environmentalism, that if this great river was destroyed, it would be horrible. And he devised this way of having a boat, bringing people to the river, having concerts on the river, And when you think about it, it's not the most logical idea, but it worked. And it worked beautifully. And it's perhaps his biggest success story, or one of his biggest success stories. It really has turned around.
It's good news, good news. I swam in that river growing up, and at the point and by the bridge, and the Rockefeller family also, they kind of kept it environmentally sound also, I think.
They bought the Palisades, but I think the forerunners of the early Hudson River groups, I was just talking to Pete about it the other day, in the 30s and the 40s when Hook Mountain and that area was being mined away, it is very mined away on the backside. Carl Karmer wrote that first book on the Hudson, and I believe some of the very first environmental movements were started then to preserve that area down there.
And how about those Hudson River painters?
Oh, beautiful. I mean, they capture the beauty of the river, which I actually spend a great deal of my time, if I'm not in editing rooms or out on the road, hiking, biking, and kayaking the Hudson River Valley. I've hiked most of the Hudson Highlands, and I'm out on a kayak all the time. And it's amazing how beautiful the river is. And it was captured in the 19th century by, Frederick Church and all these great painters, but it still absolutely is beautiful. And it just never astounds me. We tried to weave it into the film quite a bit because nature means a lot to Pete, and it was something that means a lot to me. And the film uses nature and the Hudson River Valley as kind of a tableau to get his message across.
Well, I personally couldn't be any happier. My family was 100 plus years in Tarrytown, and I'm a nature boy. Mm-hmm. And it's just when I gotta get away from the big city, I go up to the Rockefeller Estate
Sure.
that they've now made a public
Hills.
public lands. Beautiful to go see that. New York Historical Society, I think, has some of Church's paintings in there. You can Hudson River. And Jim, the movie after Tribeca, where will it go?
Well, ultimately we want it to be seen by the widest possible audience. That really, the thing that motivated Toshi Seeger and Michael Cole and Billy Eigen and I and Norman Lear and others that were involved in it to make the film was that, and ultimately what got Pete interested in the film. This was a film that we had tried to make back in the 90s when Harold was still alive, and Pete's so uncomfortable with being a celebrity and being out front, he really kind of backed away from it. And in about 4 years ago, I was doing another film about Peter, Paul, and Mary, and I was taking him home, and he said to me, in this political climate, I should really do my film now. I said, I couldn't agree more, and it was like the best news I had heard in 20 years. I said, think about it. I've got to go out on the road for about a month, and I want you to really be comfortable with it. And I came back, and he indeed wanted to go forward. And I think there's a number of reasons for that, but we've lost ground as a country morally. We've lost ground environmentally. We've lost ground in terms of our ethics. And I think certainly this war and this administration is a situation that really needs to be addressed, and we need to reestablish who we are as a people. I think that's something Pete wanted to do with this film, is to bring his message out, show what he did in labor, show what he did in civil rights, show what he did in the environmental movement and the peace movement. And that's his story, and it's a great story, and I think he's a great inspiration for all of us.
And you're a great man to capture it, and you capture it so well. And I will get there tomorrow, and I'm so honored to have you here at the Water Hour and at our Good News broadcast.
Well,
so, Jim.
Happy birthday to Pete.
Happy birthday to Pete. In here is a big surprise. Actually, can you put the camera on here? I'm just going to show one little quick shot, just so people can just see if we can get a shot of that. You get it? Why don't you put the camera down a little and just see if you can get a picture on that. That's a banjo, and just pull back and pan over a little. Okay, pan over. What do we
beautiful.
Go? The other way. Pan, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, put it away because they'll be running out here wanting to eat it. Jim Brown, thank you very much.
Thank
We'll
you.
take that mic off you, and we'll go on to our next guest.
All right.
Okay, wow. All right, our next guest will be Sharon Abreu. And we'll get Sharon to come on out, and she'll sing a moment of songs for her. And I believe she has some. She has a site that we can go to. So look at this program note. This is on the power of song. Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen are two of the many who attest to Seeger's importance in this compelling documentary. Okay, that is more than a simple biography. Using new interviews, archival footage, and home movies, Brown presents a social history through the life of one of this country's most compelling forces for change. And arguably, I'm not supposed to bang on the table because it makes the microphone bang as well. And we have a woman putting on a shirt with a penguin. The most significant folk artist of our time, okay? And you saw the cake, and it was a serious cake from Cupcake Cafe. And that's a serious. Now, we're continuing on with seriousness here with Sharon Abreu. Hi, Sharon, how are you?
Great. It's great to see you, Paul.
Okay, thank you for coming over. And so what do you have on your chest?
This is
Let me be so bold.
Penguins on Thin Ice. It is a 35-minute musical review about climate change.
Okay, a 35-minute musical review on climate change. So, and where will we get to see some of that, or how does someone get to see? Aren't you doing this at the UN?
Yes, tomorrow morning we're performing
Friday
this.
on the 4th at the United Nations. That's across town.
Right. Unfortunately, it's not open to the public. I'm sorry to
Stay
say that.
here.
Right. But we actually are working with 10 students from the High School for Environmental Studies in New York. These 10 students are in the Women's Glee Club at the high school, and they've been working for a couple months, working very hard to put this show together, memorizing the songs. Basically it's a musical review. So it's centered around the songs, and there are little bits of dialogue that connect the songs. They performed this morning at the high school. They're doing a show this afternoon, which I'm rushing off to in a few minutes. And then tomorrow morning they will perform at the UN for the UN Commission on Sustainable Development, which is the annual Earth Summit at the UN. So you know, I've seen you there. And they will be performing for all these delegates that are dealing with climate change and energy this year.
Okay, this is great. Now, I want to say a big thank you to the Board of Education of New York. These are students that are the School of Environmental Studies, okay? I mean, New York has so many specialized schools that a lot of times people don't know about. We just did another story on some of their virtual classrooms and here, and actually Brooklyn, Edward R. Murrow was the leading school here in the country in that regard. So, Sharon, you've been involved with good causes, and you're a do-gooder, and you've been doing that for a long time. So, tell us about that, please. Oh, we're going to show some video? Website.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Here.
Penguins on Thin Ice. Yes, and there's Penguins at the UN is from last year. We brought some students from the high school, and they sang 4 songs at a youth caucus meeting.
Was that the white part? That is like the polar area.
That would be the Antarctic.
That's the Antarctic, okay, for that
Right.
temporary malfunction. Okay. Okay.
And there's a piece on there. There's actually a little animation of a song clip. It's a 50-second.
Oh, wait.
That's called Titanic Island.
Okay.
And if you listen to that song clip, if you watch the whole thing, you'll see that the sea level is actually rising to the point where the penguin has been going.
Welcome to
Which is actually
Titanic
done by me with a glass of water
You
in our studio.
Oh, you're doing nice. Whoa.
This song is about the
We
small island
offer
developing
you
states, which are
this
suffering
rusted
greatly because the sea level is
island
rising, and their
before
homes
we
are literally disappearing underwater. Some of them have been flooded out. A couple of islands have had to actually be evacuated, and these people their homes are literally disappearing underwater. So
It's a problem.
right. So we're just bringing up the plight of the small island developing states.
And what is this here?
Well, this is the CD of the songs from the show, which you are welcome to keep if you like. We have, we're going to get you a DVD. Unfortunately, we wanted to have a DVD clip from the show today, and we still need to get the clearance from the school to put it on, because they have to be very careful about when the students are, appear on.
Sure.
But we will have that to you for a future show.
Okay. Well,
And
that works.
If you'd like, you can play a song clip with that animation, or we can just, I can tell you a little bit about how we came to do this.
Why don't you tell us?
Okay, well, in 1992,
What? There's no sound in here, but is there sound out there?
Oh, okay.
There's no sound on the DVD? Okay, we're just checking a little technical. Just keep talking.
Okay.
All right, we're going to keep talking. Yeah, why don't
Okay,
you
I
just
have
tell
a
us,
CD if you
Sharon?
like it. Well, in 1992, I joined an organization called the Hudson River Sloop Clearwater.
Sloop Clearwater.
And then I found out what
You
I
know
had.
Pete Seeger pretty well, I think.
I've
too.
done some concerts with Pete Seeger, some wonderful benefit concerts, and out in Queens in the public schools. And what a great honor to perform with him. And he is such an amazing mentor. You just study the way he works with audiences, the way he so easily gets people singing in harmony within just a matter of minutes. And that, to me, is just a great talent, to work with people like they're just sitting in your living room, no matter how many hundreds of people are in the audience, and having them singing harmony just like that, and blending their voices together, which just creates such a great sense of community. And I was very inspired by that. I was already doing music, playing violin, singing opera in New York City. And then I said, what better way to use my music? What better way than for environmental education? And then so I was doing that through Clearwater, and started an organization in 2002 called Earthlings Arts-Based Environmental Education. And we've been focusing mostly on climate change, because if you need to pick an environmental issue and you can't decide what issue to pick climate change, because it includes everything.
How are we doing with our water hour? I think that has, and it's kind of, I didn't realize how powerful the subject was going to be. You know, our good friend, mutual friend Phil Sowers with his World Water Rescue Foundation.
Right.
And I know water's important and blah, 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 but people are coming out from the woodwork, as they might say, you know, and we've learned that, you know, there's water underneath where we stand right now, and so on. And it does, you know, we have all these globes, and it does, you know, all come, because it's all together now, right? All we were saying.
Well, water connects us rather than separates us.
Sure.
We have a song in Penguins on Thin Ice called Waters of the World, because water has everything to do with climate change, and, you know, in terms of sea level rise, ice caps melting, salt water seeping into freshwater tables, and that also brings up water conservation. There are communities in this country where the salt water seeping into the freshwater tables because there's just too much fresh water being consumed. And so we need to know how to more efficiently use the water we have, and say, well, is it okay, is it ethical to say, well, we can just desalinate salt water, we don't need to have any fresh water on the planet? To me, that just sets off alarm bells.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they've come up with, and we've asked for anybody who has this desalination. We do a whole show on that. I mean, you know, with all the 3/4 of the earth having salt water, you know, if we have a solution that needs to come out, I'll throw that right out right now. So anybody has some solutions on getting the salt out of the water, and probably what to do with the salt after you do that, or whatever, just call us here, because 212-647-1212, and we'll be happy to put you on the show, because we want to know. Sharon, you've done a lot of good things.
Thanks, and we're having fun doing it, and that's so important. That's a big focus for Clearwater, to celebrate the human spirit, and that's what we're doing in Earthlings too. The kids are having a great time, and they're just adorable doing the songs, and we are expecting to have that up on the penguinsonthin.ice.com website within a couple weeks, and people can actually see the students doing some of the songs.
Okay, so when you have that, and if we can do it, broadcast it, get it back to me. Maybe I'll even clip it on the end of this show. Wonderful. Or something, you know, somehow we'll get it in or put it in or whatever, you know, this technology stuff. This is live, but, you know, so on and so forth. Anything else we should tell our audience, Sharon?
Go to earthlings.com, irtlingz.org, and penguinsonthin.ice.com, and check it out. We have the whole Penguin script, background information, the songs are on the website, and any school or community group that would like to put on the show, we will give them any kind of consulting that they need, and work with them to make it happen on any sort of budget.
That's a deal. Sharon, thank you very much for coming by.
Much.
It's always a pleasure. You've been here before, and you're always welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.